All right, welcome now again to an episode of Life in God's Pocket. I got that from a story called Sometimes a Great Notion, that title. That's where it came from, a story with that title. Hey, Skylar, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, man? Doing great.
Oh, I'm just hanging out, enjoying myself, enjoying your company.
Yeah,
These nice beers that you left me.
yeah, another great Saturday night.
Really, we're out here changing the world right now. Worldwide. We're worldwide.
Yeah, helping people see the light, see the right path.
Yeah, it's good that we've stated that now.
Hmm.
That's a mission statement. Was that a mission statement?
Could be a mission statement, but we also need a theme song if we're gonna have a mission statement.
That's in the works. I'm gonna get out my old fiddle and fiddle a tune or something like that.
Hmm.
We'll fiddle something in there.
Man, looking forward to see what you cook up.
Yeah, so I told you to Google cognitive distortion, right?
Yeah, you did. That was what, Wednesday.
Yeah, I
You
didn't.
you sent me a text with 3 words that said Google cognitive distortion. Like there's no real context around it, so of course I did, and I went down this super deep rabbit hole that I think might have accidentally healed me psychologically. It's kind of weird.
Hey, I want to let you know that I Googled it for 5 seconds. I saw the Wikipedia little thing. I was like, interesting. And then I was like, I bet Skylar would find this interesting.
Yeah, a little too much so. Yeah, I went way into it. Um, and then, of course, the icing on the cake, you had to top it off and be like, hey, you should read Feeling Good by this Stanford professor guy. And I was like, okay, well, give it a read. And as I stated before, like I like audiobooks, so I was listening to it at work, and it took me down a pretty deep rabbit hole as well that culminated with like learning about like cognitive distortion, right? It's where you make an event to be bigger than it is because you're more self-centered in how you view interactions and things. So all of this led me to there are like 10 big types of cognitive distortion, and almost everyone I know suffers from at least one of these things. And and he wrote it in 1980, right? And the cognitive like therapies were still new, like they were still budding sciences, and
Was there some electroshock therapy involved?
oh, I'm sure there was something going on. This guy, he was actually a professor at Stanford, so I'm thinking that he kind of knows what's going on in this.
Okay, less torture, more help.
Yeah, and he spoke in the book in a language that was really easy to pick up, and you can kind of jump on board with what he was getting after, like his points on you if you are depressed or suffer from like one of those like similar mental illnesses, chances are you can fix it with these cognitive therapies if you just understand what's happening in that moment, like what's causing your depression. You can fix it from within with your brain. Almost like, or he said he did a couple studies where it was as effective as antidepressants, and it was just as good in the long term. Like they retained happier thoughts and like brought them out of their depressive states.
And these were thought exercises?
Um, he had several different methods in these studies. The main one that he focused on was what he called bibliotherapy, which was reading his book or his manuscripts, and through reading that, kind of coach yourself into understanding what's happening in these events that are likely causing your depressive state. So, like for example, let's see. I like the overgeneralization. Sorry, lost the mic there. It's basically stated that like you generalize all actions from a one specific event. Like let's say you go for your job interview that you were like, hey, I really kind of want to work in this field, and you go for that job interview, and the first job interview you don't get it, so you think to yourself, well, I guess I'll never work in this field. Like I'm just a failure. I should have got this job and I didn't.
Done.
Like now what do I do? Or like like yeah, just generalizing events like that where in the moment it's just like, okay, you didn't get this one job. How bad was that really? You can just apply for another job in the field, another job in the field. You can still work your way up in the job you want to do, just because you didn't get this one job interview doesn't mean you can't work there, right?
Yeah.
And
Don't give up.
yeah, and just like
Persistence.
so using that as an example, yeah, like cognitive therapy is just where you recognize that happening and recognize that your mood afterward is because of that thought, that overgeneralized thought led you down a darker path. So if you can, like, in that moment, let's say you don't get the next job interview, but now you're aware that this is going to cause you a terrible reaction if you think like, oh, I just can't work in this field. But if you can stop it there and say, okay, I didn't get this one, but I can get the next one.
Yeah.
You pull yourself out of that rut before it even starts. And going through these 10 different ones, everyone found one that was like, it clicked and said like, yep, I suffer from that. Oh, and that. Oh, and maybe that too. Like all or nothing. Like all these different big ticket items that if you just were aware of that and were mindfully working to avoid those scenarios, your mood improves. Like he pulled people that were out of a like severe depressive state into he said that he called it like the less than 5 pointers, which is where you're extremely happy all the time because you're aware of your micro interactions that cause a macro effect. And it like I spent hours and hours on this stuff, and I was able to like kind of pinpoint where my negative thoughts come from. And
It's interesting to sit down and just really analyze your actions.
yeah,
Especially if there's something that happened, or, especially at work, if you're at work, for like 12 hours or longer a day, and you have, an altercation with somebody, maybe in the heat of the moment, and then you have to deal with that, and like, however, there's people that handle it well, there's people that don't handle it well, or, there's an infinite amount of like interactions that occur.
right. And
But like, how do you handle that?
how would I handle that?
No,
Or how?
Or like,
how
I'm
does
saying
one-
in general, like how does a person
Yeah, and
respond and
that's-
actually handle it? You know?
And that's kind of the big question. Is that's what everybody has to answer for themselves.
Yeah.
And oh man, I had a big thought there. Sorry. But yeah,
Well,
like
you have to actually experience it yourself. You can't just like sit at home and like, oh well, I suppose today I wanted to be a race car driver, but I just too depressed.
Mm-hmm. And kind of piggybacking off your thought of like it's nice to sit down and kind of like check yourself.
Yeah.
You don't realize how often you don't do that, and it's one of those catch-22 things where it's like the game. If you think of it, you lose, but you're never thinking of it until someone brings it up, right? Until someone says, "Hey, maybe you should like sit down and kind of like go over what's been happening in your day." You're just grinding. You're moving forward. You've got like many things piling one after another that you don't have time to sit down and analyze things. They just stack up.
Yeah.
But if you can be cognizant in that moment to kind of like deal with that issue fully, like, okay, this happened, this is a possible result, and I know this is my go-to emotional reaction, but this is also another possible result. I have to take that harder path initially and start making that micro decision right there. Then you go on to your next bit of your day, and that's gone. But instead of that, like, well, for me, it was always like an anger or like I would just like have to.
The state of like just your ability to encapsulate that rage and like competition.
Yeah,
right?
and it was always like viewed toward things that I felt were incompetent, and I was always like almost like elitism because I'm good at my craft, like I'm good at my job.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
when I figure simple things are going wrong, it's because simple people are doing it, and it's just like I go down that weird hole, and it just makes me angry. I'm like, why don't you get it, right? But if I can stop myself right then and say, okay, like maybe this is just an accident, or like, maybe it's a new guy and he's not trained. Just some other possibility as to why it could have happened other than like someone deliberately
Yeah, you
messing
deliberately
something up.
fucked this up to fuck up my day.
Right, exactly. And that's
wanna-
and that's my go-to, right? Because it's easy and, it's like the one time that it does go right, it justifies you saying that 1,000 other times.
Yeah, I always apologize afterwards because I'm kind of a crazy person sometimes where like I have like flashbacks and I'm like yelling about somebody left some goddamn trash on the can. They're leaving the goddamn candy wrappers on the floor, and I'm like shaking with rage, and
Yeah.
and then like take a deep breath, like, Oh man, you're at work right now. You need to calm down.
Yeah, definitely. Well, see, that's kind of where my like belief in karma, like my yin and yang come into balance, where I'll have those moments where I just kind of like get the fuck away from me and let me fix this because you probably just broke it. The next time I'll come back around and be like, hey man, like let me teach you something about this equipment real quick, and like I'll go through it with them deeper than I know they've ever been trained, and I'm like, kid, you see, like when you do this, this happens, and this is what you should be looking for. Like
Yeah.
it completely does a 180, and I don't think the one positive equals the one negative, but it's just like something that kept me treading above water from just going into this like manic, angry state. Like I had to be like, all right, like, just let me give back real quick, but I know I'm going to take it from you in 30 minutes when you break it. But ever since since just this week, like since Wednesday, when I started this little journey of cognitive distortions,
Yeah.
I've noticed that my mood is so much better when I get home, even after like a 13-hour day. Like I'm just like, oh, it's just cool. Like I'm, keep it moving.
Yeah.
And there's nothing behind that. So like, if something like, like the first thing that like, did I lose my mic?
No.
No, I lost me in the mic. Hold on.
You can't hear yourself in your headphones?
No, I got it. Yeah, that was weird. It went away.
Okay.
Yeah, so like when I first get home, like if the cat knocked over the water bowl, there's no like, I'm mad at these 30 people, so now I have to yell at you. It's just oh, well, you're dumb. I'm just going to fill it back up real quick. We're going to just move along. It's kind of nice. It's very freeing. Very freeing of the mind.
That's interesting. It's interesting how people can get into like negative thought patterns, and then can you say like, oh, my life can be better if I just never think negative, and as long as I tell myself to never think negative, I'll never do it. Is because it's not that simple.
You know what though? It kind of is. Like, even Joe Rogan over there says positive thoughts correlate with positive outcomes.
Well, maybe it's some people are capable of it, and then what about those that are actually? I don't want to like poke fun at anybody that has like a mental handicap, or if they're ill in a certain way, or if their genetics or whatever like make them a certain way. But that's like a real thing that happens, and how I can't remember the point I was trying to make with this.
You're talking about positive thoughts.
Yeah,
leading to positive results.
Well, I'm totally capable of like making that distinction. You're capable of it, but what if some people just aren't because of how their brain works or just how they are? Because there has to be some people that aren't,
Well, then, yeah. I mean, if you have suffer from like some sort of mental handicap, obviously, special attention needs to be paid to you. So like let's say, okay, let's just flip it around, right? Let's say you encounter someone who has a mental handicap, right? And they're a little bit aggressive, or they're just like outright rude or mean.
Yeah,
like,
you're like holding a bushel of bananas
can
and
you
they really want it.
Yeah, well, all right, that's how you might want to run or call the cops somebody, right? Like if that's your bushel, you got to protect that bushel at all costs.
I want banana.
Yeah. At the same time, positive thoughts, I'll slap you for stealing my bananas. So,
yeah,
watch out.
It doesn't matter your mental capabilities. Don't fuck with my bushel of bananas.
Yeah, but like if someone's just being outwardly like not pleasant, you can't really control that so much as you can control what you're going to do. So maybe sometimes you just got to eat that. Sometimes you just got to
eat that banana.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely eat the banana. Definitely eat the banana.
No, you got to eat that.
The poor interaction.
Initial response to just like handle it how you want, with impulse and emotions versus thinking about it from the other person's point of view.
Yeah, and that's where we're working at it. Yeah, like it's definitely not easy at first to just, because when you're in your habits and your routines, it's comforting. It was like comforting for me to be angry because that's just how that was the best way for me to just kind of like understand what happened and move and not have to think about it anymore.
Because like the blood like rushes to your dick when you're angry and you just feel like a man.
Oh, maybe it's that little primal
and
rage.
Just have this urge just to tackle the nearest beautiful woman and
feeling like an alpha.
Just really, make her pregnant.
Spread your seed.
I'm gonna pregnant you so hard right in the middle of this floor.
Oh. Did you clean it first?
Well, you see, that's my urge. That's my internal urge, but I use my big smart brain to not do that. And I just fantasize about it in the broom closet.
Well, it's safer for everybody else, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to get the poison out, you know.
Yeah. Well, you to make sure you keep that one on the inside.
I can't help it. I'm an animal.
Yeah. We don't forget that sometimes. Well, stoned apes.
That's right. Started taking drugs,
Got to check yourself.
making our brains all wonky, building them fancy automobiles so I can drive to the porn store out of not in my community, but like a few towns over. So
Yeah,
I
'cause
don't
you
run
don't wanna
into
be seen.
my neighbors because I'd be ashamed.
Or maybe that's a good way to start a party.
Yeah, I'd be ashamed if my neighbors knew that every Thursday night I rented grandma porn. You know.
Gilf life.
Well, there's just something about a mature, strong, older woman, you know, just wrinkled up. It's like a sexy prune.
Yeah, she got that Social Security coming in every month.
I just want to take some sriracha mayonnaise and coat her titties in them.
Ooh. Oh, red and white.
Mm-hmm. I reckon I like me some titties. Yes, sir. Especially if they're from an older lady with about 9 or 10 kids. Yes, sir.
Seen some action. been through it.
You know, I've always been, whenever I go to a car show, I like to look for the old rusted up rat rods, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The no muffler or anything, just straight up headers just coming off the side of the car. You know, just shooting flames, covered in rust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
But that some bitch knows how to run. Its motor's hot.
Yeah. They don't build them like they used to.
She got some slicks on her. What does that even mean?
Well, see, they're only talking about racing slicks. You know, want to grip the road there and just get them running a little bit. In case Smokey won't show up.
Yeah, let's go be eastbound and get down. So anyways, I'm glad random words from me got you into a Google well of enlightenment.
Yeah, it made me realize that none of my hobbies I have now are actually that important because I dropped them like a bad habit and just singled in on this.
Yeah. Well, this is a interesting thing. Like I've said before, like we're millennials now, and we're using our technology to let people know that they can take things like a wall and build it around themselves, and then I'll piss inside of it until they drown.
What do you think about the youth today? What do you think about them? Are we at the age now where we're like those fucking crazy ass kids?
No, here's what I think. I think there's some youth out there that are really great, and then there's some youth out there that's really fucking stupid, you know? There's some people out there that are 30, like myself, that are really fucking great.
Yeah.
And then there's some of them like me that are really stupid.
There's a lot of useless bodies out there.
Yeah, it's just
I think it's just unrealized potential. Everyone's just kind of settling down.
So here's what I think, man. I think we need to completely rearrange like the social system of the United States government. Like no matter if people are here, we should be doing as much as we can to educate them as much as they want and guide them towards. Like, no, not everybody's going to be a physicist, and not everybody can be a plumber.
What do you mean by? Do you mean like send out a new message to the youth rather than the like you can be whatever you want to be when you grow up? Because black people just got that with Obama. You can't take that away.
Yeah.
They just got that not 10 years ago.
No, well, I'm not trying to like tagline it. You know, I want a utopia. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's the problem is like nobody thinks the same what utopia is.
Are you gonna unzip and Bernie Sanders is gonna pop out? The
Well-
top's gonna pay for it. We're all gonna be rich.
Yeah,
That's my best Bernie, by the way. That's all I got.
I was mesmerized by your Bernie.
Yeah.
Shaking
did
his
the hand things and
Yeah. I
He's
think
still on
he-
social media. I still follow him. He's still roaring to go.
I think he means
wants
well.
it again.
You know.
You think he's gonna run?
He'll probably run, but He's getting pretty fucking old, you know.
So,
And he's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger old. Like the Arnold could run the fucking world right now.
Yeah.
Like, that guy's in the gym. He's fucking killing it. Vince McMahon, that guy could run the world right now. He's old and wise.
Oh no,
Just
this
a
place
stallion.
would turn into a circus. This would be WWE would become a professional sport.
Hey, that'd be okay with me.
Yeah.
No, but you know, he could probably do it, but there's some old people, you know, that are still really with it into their 80s and 90s. And then there's some that are just like,
Yeah, just saw a video of what are they called? The 100-year-old Centurions?
Century Mans.
Yeah, century. Well, it was all ladies. It was
Century
interesting.
Womans.
It was a 100-year-old and above required to entry race. It was a 40-yard dash, and there were like 3 or 4 of them old ladies that were running.
And they're 100.
Like pulling sub 10 seconds for 100 years old.
What?
Yeah, like they were booking. And I was like, damn. And then there was a few that walked. They survived, and I think that's a win in itself.
Were they allowed to use walkers?
No, they stretched beforehand and everything.
Oh, man.
They were
Unassisted.
really after it.
Handy capable.
So what does that tell you? You got to be a woman and a track athlete. You got a better chance of getting to a hundo.
I do not. Oh, man. Living to be 100 years old, that would. I'm sure whenever I'm 98, I'm not going to be like, well, I can't wait to die exactly when I'm 100.
Yeah,
I'm sure I won't think that way.
Mm-hmm.
But now,
if you make it to 98, you got to hold on to a hundo. You got to just fucking to hit that, like tap that fucking backboard, pop, got it.
oh man, I hope the day after I die, an asteroid hits the Earth and kills everybody.
That's fun. That's the end. It was all Jordan's story after all. Wrap this one up. We'll make a new one.
That's right. After I die, time will not exist.
Yep.
You know, from my perception.
Sure. Man, I've been in on the simulation theory lately. It's fun to think about.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Like the life existence as a computer code and whatnot. Since I can understand the argument for it.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of flaws in that theory.
Well, whenever it comes to like what the nature of reality is and consciousness and all that, I'll accept people's arguments, but I'm not going to say any one of them is fact until I don't know how you'd even prove like factually, you know, this is consciousness in a jar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've created consciousness, but you know, I suppose that's what the whole artificial general intelligence thing is, to make something that's conscious.
I don't think, oh man. Because what if we get to like organic electronics?
Yeah, just like
then it is, right?
the Cylons, right?
Yeah, like
In
the
Battlestar
Cylons.
Galactica.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going with that. Like what if we get to basically it's like digital cloning.
Dude, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I think that'd be kind of. And then they have kids. Yeah, they have kids in that show. So like they're what is that?
Once they have an orgasm from love.
Yeah, interbeinged. Yeah.
Once somebody really gets that deep spot in their soul.
Yeah, man.
You really get in there and push that button, you know, a couple of times.
I watched Ex Machina not too long ago.
Oh, that's a fucking great flick.
Yeah, for the second time around. And it was when he found out that he was a thing, right? Yeah. Oh, no, when he cut himself because he didn't know if he was one of the dude's robots or not.
He was coming undone at the seams.
Yeah, when he was having a serious existential crisis. I think that was probably the best moment in the whole movie.
Yeah, because
that humanity should really peak at.
Yeah, because if your brain is 100% programmable, how you would literally not be able to know the difference between, you know, this fabricated, made-up simulation of a past that someone gave you to make you think you're a real person, when in fact you were born 20 minutes ago.
Bam.
But they give you 30 years of memories, even though you've never actually done it. Like, how do you turn 30 years of experience into a mathematical equation?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Either like if we don't go extinct first, we'll get there one day. We'll figure that one out.
It's some weird stuff, man.
Every generation, there's people that are born with incredible minds, and the rest of us can just kind of coast on what they figure out.
Oh yeah,
and
man.
eventually we'll get there.
I want to make sure I'm helping that guy because whenever there's an overturn in like the world order, I want to be on the smartest guy's team. You know.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. Well, being on the smartest, I think the smartest guy is going to try and figure out how for humanity to exist in space, because if you think about it, let's say Big Bang Theory, bingo, it's happening, it's going to expand, and then eventually that expansion is going to slow down enough, but we're increasing incredibly enough. If it's going to slow down enough to stop, and then we're all going to collapse back into the singularity, right? Because that's the plan.
Well, think of shorter term though. Like what's more likely to happen in the near future is a giant asteroid is going to hit the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like because it happens, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it takes
Couple
600,000
million
years. Sometimes it takes 500 years.
Mm-hmm.
But of the billions of years there's
We're
been
gonna
an
get
Earth, you know, the probability of it happening again is very likely.
Especially since we're all going to collide with Andromeda, and we're all going to probably not ever experience anything from that. Maybe some weird gravitational waves, but
Yeah.
I don't know, something weird could happen. We got to exist in space because that's the only way. Like, let's say this fucking reality and everything that we're figuring out in science is the legit fucking deal. You have to be able to like resist that pull into the fucking singularity, and then when it fucking explodes again, you got to be able to GTFO, like outpace it, and then come back and then collect some more fucking
Yeah.
debris.
But what if life is supposed to be recycled, you know? So that's kind of like, your race is racing their evolution to be able to escape, the inevitable crushing end of the universe, you know? Can you escape in a black hole that absorbs the entire universe? You know,
I think you can, like, right? Because nothing is at the point where everything is shrinking back in. Everything is generating speed inwards, but if you are able to like harness materials to have like rocket fuel to create things to where you can propel yourself in the opposite fucking direction.
Yeah, but dude, light doesn't even escape, you know.
Yeah, once you get past the event horizon, let's say you're able to fucking stay outside of it.
Yeah, but what if the entire dude, it's like
let's say the singularity,
the entirety of your existence is like being forced into one point. So it'll be impossible for you to exist outside of its grasp because it is everything, and everything will go to like one finite point or whatever.
And you think the gravity is so dense that like when you're looking at that black gritty wave chart that they try and explain gravity with, that it's going to be such a sinkhole that you can't be on the corner?
Well, I'm thinking I have no relative education to back up any of these claims. But
no, we're just a couple of dudes that are really fucking smart, you know.
I don't think if there's a universal ending event, like we're gonna have to develop some really crazy technology to be able not be destroyed by it.
Well, you know what I think? I think that we just came up with a mission statement trying to guide people into the light, and right now you're really fucking going into the dark, bro. All right, there's got to be a light, right? Like, fucking rage against the dying light. No, like, yeah, come on, man.
No, I'm just
Stick
saying.
with the mission statement.
Well, my mission statement is try to have as much fun as possible while you're here. You know,
that's
because an
definitely
asteroid is going
the
to
key
hit
to
the
life.
Earth.
Yeah.
And we should let the smart people, as much as they want, figure out ways to colonize space so they can preserve the good parts of humanity and be able to, explore the universe, find new rocks. Because that's what's in us to explore, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why we built ships. That's why there's the Navy, because they're the greatest explorers of all time.
Now we have a Space Force. We're working on it. Donald Trump is
That's
leading
gonna be,
us.
The Space Force is going to be the next Navy, of exploration.
What do you think? Would you go back to to the Space Navy?
Dude, I did my time, I can't do that shit anymore.
You don't want to go swab poop decks in space?
Fuck no. There's no pussy in space. You kidding me?
Oh, I wouldn't go on a sub again. I wouldn't go on a space submarine. I'd be on
Fuck no.
a space surface ship, a space target.
You know, I could do it if they paid me a shit ton. Like, I definitely mentally could handle it because I'd have before.
Yeah.
But could everybody else handle me?
You know, like I think I'm having like post Navy anxiety about being on a submarine because I think like, fuck, what if I would have went crazy, like 10 days into a 3-month underway? Holy shit! Like, how bad would that have been? You know, and I just go down that thought path.
They would have killed you and locked you in the freezer.
Dude, yeah, or like they would have kept you in the torpedo room under watch. Like, fuck. I guess that's why they do a psych eval first to try and minimize that.
Yeah, some people slip through the cracks, though.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. That's for sure.
No, I enjoyed my time on the submarine, you know. I just never want it to happen ever again.
I think it was definitely a good experience. It's pretty good.
For shizzle, my nizzle. Hey, you want to take a nice little commercial break?
Yeah, man. It's about that time, isn't it?
Yeah, insert commercial here where we'll sell your shit and then you can give us free stuff and then people will like you more because you're being a good part of the community.
Free stuff.
We're heroes, goddammit.
Give it to us.
And we're recording once again here at, after our commercial break.
Round 2.
That was a nice break for a commercial, you know. We'll take some ad revenue for cheap. We work for cheap.
Yeah, just start giving us stuff. Free stuff.
I'll even take some coupons for like a 15% off a $5 car wash. You know, my car could really use a washing.
What about half off nearly expired deli meats?
Nearly expired deli meats?
Nearly.
So
like,
you just mean normal deli meets?
Yeah, like they might have cut off a little bit of green, but the rest of it's pretty good.
Hey, if it's fermenting, it just has
culture,
like bacteria in it, you know.
See what I did there?
Dude,
what I did?
That was like you used a word to like mean like two things.
I think they call that something in France.
Butt sex.
Oof.
That's what they call everything in France. Yeah, butt sex. Oui, oui.
Oh, yeah, they do a lot of wee, that's for sure.
How
I was
funny-
in Paris not too long ago, actually.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Hashtag
yellow suit
Euro
party.
trip. Oh, it's last year's 2K18. Yeah, it was fun. We were there for, I think, a total of 3 days. Bebopping around places. And there's a lot of good and bad takeaways from that.
What's that?
What do you think the top 2 good takeaways were?
Beautiful prostitutes and peeing in beautiful fountains.
Well, I wouldn't have called peeing in beautiful fountains a good thing, but I would say that is something you can do. So that could check out. But we'll say the other one I was going with is their museums are fucking dope.
Oh yeah, they have way more history over there in old Europe,
yeah.
you know?
Even their buildings are just like the whole architecture of Paris.
Well, they have way more civilized history over there.
Sure. Yeah, a lot more. Culture.
You know the
See, I used it the other way this time. When 2 for 2 culture definitions.
Yeah. Damn. You just dunked in my face twice.
Bam. With my nuts.
You know, I once caught you rubbing your nuts on somebody's coffee mug in the engine room. I don't remember who the mug belonged to.
You know,
your balls were definitely on its mouthpiece.
I cannot say that it did not happen to more than one person.
Well, if it happened to me, don't ever tell me.
No,
I probably deserved it a few times.
I don't think you were ever a nutted cup.
Dude, when I was in A school, this dude got mad at his roommate, so he, ejaculated in his shampoo and then told a bunch of us about it.
In his own shampoo or in someone else's shampoo?
In his roommate's shampoo.
Roommate's.
And then told us about it. I didn't tell the roommate about it.
I
didn't feel like it was my place.
You are an accomplice, good sir.
Hey,
that
he could have been
rest on your conscience.
He could have been lying, you know. Maybe.
Did you like his roommate?
I mean, he was a all right guy.
He's all right.
And we're not friends or anything.
Yeah.
We were friends at the time.
I guess it wasn't really your place then.
That was back when I drank a lot.
That'd be a weird way to introduce yourself. Like, hey, what's up? Your roommate nutted in your shampoo. You're welcome. Yeah. And then fade into the mist.
You look like you've been rubbing some semen in your hair. You got that nice sheen. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you put semen in your shampoo.
Yeah, real movement at the base there. Yeah.
That would be awful to have shampoo that smelled like that.
Didn't they do that in a Ben Stiller movie too?
Oh, I don't know.
Or was it like an American Pie maybe? It was an American Pie, I think.
The jack off in a shampoo bottle?
Yeah. Someone that like gave it to like in the douchebag of the movies. Because you got to pick a side, right?
Well, there's a Van Wilder where they feed him the donuts full of dog jizz.
That might be it. I don't know. I'm sure it's probably been done
Animals.
a couple times. It's an old gag.
Somebody gagged all right. Yeah, that's another nice little jokeroo about my wiener.
Dick jokes never get old. Dicks get old.
They get old for dang sure. They get
so at 28,
calloused and weathered.
How old are you? 30 now?
I am 30 years old.
30.
Yes.
Have your nuts started to sag noticeably?
Dude, I got a couple of low hangers.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A couple of ape hangers down there?
A couple of meaty clackers. No, that's from that show, The League. They say that in that show.
That's good. It's a good saying.
Low hangers. Low hanging fruit.
There it is.
That's what I have.
Easy to pick. Hey.
Oh. Anyways, enough about that. Nobody wants to visualize that about me. So
Just let that sink in, though.
Like I said, this is the sort of content that's going to get us a sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
Where can I rest my sagging balls at night?
In MeUndies.
Yeah, you want to stop your balls from experiencing the horrors of gravity?
Buy MeUndies.
Fighting gravity since their inception. They're defying physics, MeUndies.
Such a good brand. Nice soft.
Some real
fabrics.
trailblazers.
Some real trail coverers, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Quality commercial right there. Anyways.
One day.
So what, this wall, you want to talk about that wall? Are we there yet?
You mean like the government shutdown wall?
Yeah.
Huh.
Do you think there should be a wall?
Oh, well, that's tough. I think this is all stupid. I think that, like right now, like that we have to build it. Like I don't think that's the answer.
Yeah.
Because America was built on refugees and refuse and people that are like, hey, like we're here to fucking work hard to come up. And I think that's even been coined now as the immigrant mentality.
Yeah.
Is to work hard and come up. You know, like the American dream is literally immigrant mentality. So I don't think a wall is a good idea. I think making sure everyone else has to pay their taxes is a good idea. So I think as much as should be spent on preventing tax fraud from the bottom 1%.
Hey, there are rules in society put into place. There's the police and shit like that. If there's a problem with criminals, catch the criminals, you know?
Yeah.
Like we don't have to build this big wall. It's like, oh, well, there's all these criminals. No, the people, they're mostly using tunnels. You know, they get drugs and shit like that in because it
makes more
there's
sense.
Helicopters and shit like that. They can catch people coming in. That like they can figure out a way to get over the wall. It's not building a wall is just a big. You're not solving the actual problem. You know, use a little bit of a root cause analysis when you're thinking about issues like this, because building a big fucking wall is not, and using like $5 billion to do it, when there's so much shit that money could be better used for. And like I don't understand. I guess since I don't live in the area, I probably don't understand like the local issues with immigrants and shit like that. I have a lot of friends that I grew up with that were Mexican immigrants, or their parents like came from Mexico and they worked at like food processing plants and shit like that. And no, they're great. They had all of them had jobs in high school and paid taxes. I don't know why we're trying to keep everybody out.
Well, it's a very tribal mindset, right? Like the human populace was founded by tribal apes.
Oh yeah,
So you draw these imaginary lines in the sand and say, "This is mine, that's yours." And when I want more, we'll kill you and we'll take yours. And then when you want more, you kill me and take mine. And that's just how it works. But we all find our little space. It's like everything. It's just like the air you breathe, right? Everything finds an equilibrium, right? Everything you find like your space, like what you can control. And so people that consider themselves American citizens that live above this line in the sand don't want people that are Mexican citizens that are below the line in the sand to come up above the line in the sand and fucking take a hard working job that like they think is theirs while they sit on the couch and collect welfare and also fucking disability, right? I mean, it's like you're getting it one way or the other. And I mean, like imagine you're in Europe and like you are at like one of the like bordering countries. You don't think there's going to be people that speak both languages or like that are like from both places there that move back and forth just because you declare this your line in the sand. People move. Like that's what you do. You grow up and you like move.
Yeah, you got to spread the genetics. And then like they got to bring in new genetics. You can't just have all of the population amass into one central place.
Yeah, and I think the root of this is undocumented people living in the country. I think it's the fact that people are not paying their taxes, and that's what is being told to the wealthy, and they're like, okay, well, what's the best way to do this? Oh, if you stop the inflow of people, then you stop the inflow of people that aren't paying their taxes, right?
Yeah, taking advantage of our like social systems,
right?
But that's because they can live in poverty in our country, and like the quality of life is, exponentially better than like whatever they're experiencing in their home country. Like coming here and being an undocumented criminal is like far better than, and that's the problem. Like that huge inequality, making it so fucking attractive to come to the United States. But I don't just like internally for me, I don't think we should meet these people with building a wall trying to shut them out. It's like, listen, like, hey, what's going on here? Okay, like, you're coming to us like we're mom. What's going on here? And then what happened to your country? Okay, we're not going to go down there and fix it for you, but we're going to enable you to, I don't know, here's a bunch of guns. Like, go down there and overthrow your government. And
yeah. Well, let's talk to the fucking Republicans here and say, let's think about this economically, right? We have an always growing national debt, and we have how many millions that they claim of undocumented illegal aliens, as they would say in our country, these aliens, all making a little, like they're making money, right? They got to support their family, even if they're sending money back home. That income still needs to be taxed. Everything still needs to be taxed. So if you just like they did back, I think what was the '60s when they did the what was it called when they were like, hey, if you're here, just come get your paperwork.
Or the amnesty.
Yeah, thing. Yeah. Like that worked. Revenue increased in those states that everyone came forward and said, oh, hey, yeah, like fucking, I'll become a citizen and start paying taxes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was that the Dreamers? Is that what that was? I can't remember. What is Dreamers?
I thought Dreamers was the Obama thing where Obama's like, oh, all these immigrant kids, as long as they stay in high school and have like a job and no felonies. But I'm not 100% about that either because I don't.
Right, but still, what he was trying to do was contribute to the workforce of America, like to keep yourself hireable. Yeah. So then your income can be taxed and the government can have more money.
I think in any case where you're trying to like educate and help and empower like a group of people, that's just like for my soul, this feels good, rather than to meet these people with like repulsion and like, get the fuck out of our bountiful country because we stole this fair and square from the Native Americans and threw them into fucking reservations, and now we're putting pipelines through their land and spilling oil everywhere and pissing them off.
Yeah.
Dude, how long are we going to shit on the Native Americans,
I think it's time-honored tradition at this point. Did I think I don't know. Fucking the government, man. It's all a big conspiracy, man.
Well, the form in a way our government operates right now was made whenever you had to ferry messages via horseback to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can all communicate instantly, you know.
I think there's definitely some upgrades that can be made without bucking the whole system.
Dude, like smart contracts and blockchain and shit, and like if everybody just had an account with like their social security number, which proves they're a citizen, then we could change the way that decisions are made in the government, or enough for simple things like, okay, here's a poll for who thinks marijuana should be legal, you know, and then anybody that has a membership to like this specific like ledger or whatever can like cast their vote, and then it's a representation of everybody, you know, and you don't have to wait for a bunch of ballots, or you don't have to have people go to like polling places in the community.
But shouldn't people also have the freedom of not being interfered with by these ballot decisions if they want to? Just be like, I don't want to be alerted in any way of these decisions.
Well, yeah, you don't have to participate. Like, it's a free country, but I think it'd be a much more representative way of the people. But granted, you can't let like 1/4 of the population that's fucking stupid, like gang up and pass a bunch of stupid laws, because you know, you still have to have progress, and there are just some really stupid, evil people out there. I mean, like, you know, like me.
Yeah, but you're
just
getting
can't
a
help
vote.
it.
You're getting a vote in this, though. So
We can't help ourselves being stupid and evil. You know, I'll take my Jesus and ram it right down your throat. I'll take my fucking Allah and I'll strap it to your chest and throw you off a cliff.
Oh, that's a good one. But what? So, like, what do you think then? If you're talking like big overhaul stuff, what's going on? What's happening? We tearing it apart?
Well, I think we just need to use these advanced means of communication.
Like the Star Wars Council? Is that what we're gonna go to?
See, I have all these really good ideas that don't have like a whole body. I feel like I'm the big idea guy.
Yeah.
And then the kids that go to school for like political science or whatever, they can be like, oh yeah, maybe we should have a system where, you know, people are more fairly represented, and, you know, maybe we don't have the inequality of wealth gap just so massive.
But that's capitalism, baby. That's how it works around here.
Well, I think that these guys making billions of dollars or millions of dollars a year, hundreds of millions of dollars a year, they should pay their employees more, you know. I don't know why one person needs $150 billion. If I had $150 billion, I'd probably be singing a different tune right now, you know. But I feel like human beings that are, just because of where they were born or who they were born to, you know, their status in life, should be subject to the suffering when there's, you know, when we could definitely do something about it. Like, we spend $700 billion a year on war. But I guess, you know, there's evil people out there that need to die, right?
Yeah. So you think that people, like, more socialist in terms of pay scales, to kind of help everybody out, and then like that 1% gap doesn't need to be stupidly high, but also sometimes that power of wealth is used for good, like with Bill and Melinda Gates.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure.
Absolutely. You know, like if they gave that money out, how much of that would go towards the good that they've put it towards?
Yeah. Yeah, there are some like super smart billionaires that are out there doing a lot of good shit, you know.
Like Elon Musk. What if he didn't
dude.
have any money, but he just was like an idea man like you, just being like, hey, like, I need y'all to come over here and like work. We need to build this really expensive crap because it's going to be good, but I need your resources as well.
Well, my ideas are like from me, and I'm just, you know, a normal dude.
Yeah.
His ideas are from the mind of like a super genius.
Which is why he has all the money.
Yeah.
And there we are back to the wealth gap.
Yeah, but he's one of the guys that's like putting it back into the system, you know.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I would say that he is a vote or a check mark in the column of good use of.
But he's
retarded wealth.
Yeah, I
Can't
guess
say
I
that word
can't.
anymore.
I
It's
can't.
2019.
Yeah.
I retract my previous statement.
Yeah, I can only speculate on the lavish things that he indulges in, or what any billionaire indulges in, because I can never fathom what is. Well, I guess I can, fantasize about what it'd be like, but I will never really know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's unfortunate.
But
At least if I have that attitude, but I don't, because I'm gonna be like the next Jesus one day. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm. Very Renaissance man already.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a good start.
I don't want to be like super rich. I just want to have enough money to where, I can have enough resources to where I can do whatever I want. But hopefully, what I want to do is something that's productive.
I think that is the basis behind most dudes' philosophies of life, and then sometimes they have a family, and then the means are never achieved because you're always providing for everybody.
Yeah, man. Like if
It's
I
a very
could,
misogynist way to think about things now, but that's what came out.
well, that's one of the reasons why I don't want to have like a wife and kids and stuff like that. It's just not the whole idea and picture of it to me. It's just not attractive. I don't want to do it. And I don't have like the existential like, oh, who's gonna carry on my name and my honor and shit. I'm sure my parents like care about that, and they want it to happen, but I really don't.
Now let me give you a pretty gray-haired moral dilemma though. Like, what if you are in the top 50% of like genetic lottery like points? Like if you add up all like the good trade points and you're in the top 50%, wouldn't it be like behoove the human race for you to quit being a selfish bitch and maybe pop out 2 more?
So what you're saying is that because I'm such a fine genetic specimen, I should be pooping babies out?
This is very hypothetical.
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You think I should have a lot of kids? Thank you. That's a very nice compliment you just
Well,
gave
yeah,
me.
a brood would be nice. A couple more people like playing Magic and Xbox in the world.
Yeah,
Not a bad idea.
a couple more guys that like to sit around and record podcasts and eat pizza.
Yeah, instead of doing good things.
No, we're doing good things right now. We're getting the good ideas out there, fleshing out the bad ideas.
Driving people towards the light.
This is a real conversation with real people.
Mm.
We're real people, right?
I think
Or
we're real people.
Simulation.
Yeah, but someone's in charge of the simulation.
Someone's in charge of this simulation?
Someone's got to be.
I think there might be.
I don't think they're minutely involved. I think
governing-
they've given us the laws of the game, right? Like the rules, the physics. That's it. That's the rules. Play. Just see what happens.
Play that motherfucker.
But like it's really like it's to kind of grasp life after like life on Earth after your death. It's a tough concept to just be like, okay, like one day though, like down the road, I won't be here anymore. I still got hopefully a few more good experiences and
Oh,
maybe
yeah, for sure.
positive things to do. But like one day, like that's gonna be gone. Like what happens with me? Like that's a different, that's the big one. Everyone's always thinking about me.
Yeah, 1,000 years from now.
Yeah.
We're just gonna
your
have.
bones aren't even things.
We're gonna have these podcasts that are like where our voice is gonna be forever enshrined in the data cloud. But our physical bodies will be dead, but our ideas will be alive and studied by future generations.
As what not to think. As like, hey, see, this is period pieces, like how we think of jumpsuits in the 80s. They'll be like, listen to these guys. It's very dated material.
How dare they pigeonhole themselves with topics of the time? Anyways, you ready to wrap this up? You wrap this up, big boy?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was a good talk.
It was.
Very
I think we're getting better.
We're working on it. We're working it on up. Third go around.
Pretty soon we'll be in a studio, making fart noises with the effects buttons and such.
Yeah, having our own little soundboard. That'd be cool. So what we talk about, cognitive distortion. That was good.
Yeah.
That was the big chunk in the beginning there. What else we get into? This is one thing I'm trying to start doing is remembering what we did.
Recap. Well,
not very good at it.
Well, sometimes.
Exactly.
There was we talked about. Did we talk about automation?
We talked a little bit about the powers of good with money.
Oh yeah. This
That was recent though. There's a big
wealth and
gap in the middle between those things.
that segment was titled "Wealth and Responsibility."
Wealth. It's good. It's good.
The responsibility to have when being wealthier than all the other poor dildos out there.
Yeah. If it was me, I'd just buy a yacht. So that's probably why I'm where I'm at.
I don't know what I would do. I'd probably do so much cocaine and have so much sex that my heart would explode in like a week.
Yeah.
This is like all the finest prostitutes. Then I'd die. And then they'd sweep my corpse into the ocean. And the next billionaire playboy will step on board and do the same thing.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah. It's a vicious, never-ending cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you don't have any kids, though, who's going to inherit that infinite wealth?
I'll leave it. I'll give it to somebody that deserves it. I'll leave all my money to Jeff Bezos.
Nice.
So
I heard he's in a pinch right now.
So he can just do good things with it.
Maybe that's my next thing I got to look at. What's Jeff Bezos doing with all his money?
Building rockets.
Is he? Nice.
Yeah. He's also a rocket man.
Is he?
Billionaire rocket man.
Nice. We got a couple of those coming up. That's the new hot thing for billionaires.
And pretty
China
soon,
just landed on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, they did. They found Pink Floyd there.
Oh, shit.
They did so much acid they floated there.
Do you think so? Because like everything that I've read, which is I can't trust the fucking media anymore because everything always had like a tagline of state-sponsored news reported that China, like they always like that little snob of like this wasn't free press, like China put this out.
Yeah.
It would be like if the government said, "Hey, we did this," but like none of the news outlets did. On the dark side of the moon in the deepest crater to study mantle rock.
Well, the space race is still on,
Yeah, there's still good things happening. I'm a big fan of that. I'm glad we're fucking launching rockets in my lifetime. We need to start moving forward in this.
Yeah, man.
I want to get to China on a rocket before I die.
Oh, yeah, that'd be super cool. Go into space and then land back down and like the halfway across the world in minutes.
Would be fun. Maybe go through some of those boring tunnels too.
Oh, dude, I definitely want to ride one of those. But I'm also really scared of having a tunnel collapse like that Daylight movie with Sylvester Stallone. They have that car tunnel and chemicals blow up in it and people are stuck in this tunnel and it's like underneath the bay.
People driving tunnels all the time on the East Coast.
Yeah, but there's going to be a lot of tunnels that are just like wide enough for you. And this little, if they do the car thing like they're trying to do in LA.
Yeah.
It's going to be super creepy at first.
Yeah, but do you know what like the best part, like the creepiest part about that is that when like they were asking Elon about like, oh, like what's like when you fill it up with tunnels, like what then? And he's like, well, that's the thing with tunnels. You can always go deeper. And I'm like, holy shit, we're going to be honeycombed. Maybe that's where the Martians live. They've like honeycombed down, and then they were like, we don't need that top bit. That's where people, that's scary shit.
Yeah, that's where you die from radiation from like solar coronal mass injections, you know? Why wouldn't you live under a mile out of rock?
Yeah.
And you're protected from asteroids.
55 degrees all the time.
Yeah. You can 100% control the environment, you know? You just make big underground cities.
Yeah. So Elon's making EVs, making rockets to go up, tunnels to go down. He's really moving. He's really, has anyone really moved like him? I don't know. I'm getting excited over this. Working for this man.
Well, you need to calm down.
Being a cog in the machine. Drinking the Kool-Aid.
For sure. He's fearless leader.
Yeah. Hail, Elon.
Yeah, no, pledge your allegiance or, you know, suffer the consequences.
Truth.
What's our, there's no, I'm not exacting any punishment. You know, I'm just saying, you're going to have to, like, live with yourself, you know.
It's true. He's something else. Anyways.
For shizzle. All right. Well, I think that's going to about wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
You have yourself a nice night. And for the person that listens to this 1 million years from now, you really did stumble across a gem.
Bada bing. Coming up with some good stuff. It's only getting better.
Right.
Like a small town rapper hyping it up like, yeah, check the mixtape.
We'll be back with the next episode.
This one's easily gonna sell for 20, hot off the shelf.
All right. Peace.